My team, they're doing the blog. So we have a website blog. There's people on my team that want to get rid of earliest blogs because it's giving ghetto, because my lives were so bad and the setup was so bad. This is not how I started. So your first live is like my 100th live. All right, so I'm gonna bring up some of the lives. We're doing this to learn together so that we don't repeat the same mistakes, especially in the next lives. Okay, Wendy.
I am Monday. Hello and welcome.
So the first thing is, did you do this because you were worried if you were live, the first 13 seconds?
Yeah.
Okay, that's natural. But as you increase your trust with technology, if you see that it's connected to your LinkedIn and you click the live button on StreamYard, just trust that you're live. Because, and you could get rid of this space. You could go into edit video and then trim the first 13 seconds or whatever off of it so that the replay viewer doesn't just have to hang out for 15 seconds.
To emotional intelligence, LinkedIn.
And then the sound. So the sound is echoey. Why is it echoey?
I think it's just a room. I don't have much stuff in there. So I think it's just like the hollowness of it.
Yeah.
So I need to get like a rug or something. And I think to my microphone, I was connected to my camera's microphone and not the actual
that's why. Okay. And that's another lesson. You're not the only one. Don't worry. I mean, even very recently, I think 3 months ago, I recorded a 40-minute video for YouTube on mute. And once I realized I did that, I just closed the laptop. It was like 11 p.m. And I'm like, okay, it's fine. It's a learning lesson. We'll never do that again because it was a whole 40 minutes and it was just a waste. Just make sure you have the right mic on because that reverb and that audio could be one of the reasons people drop off. One of the things that I want to mention is you obviously look like you took this serious, right? Like you have a dress shirt, your hair, all of that. You look professional.
We are going to get started here shortly. Happy Monday. I am really excited and anxious to be here. How are you feeling today? Let me know in the chat so that I know that you.
So one of the things that will reduce the chances of engagement are open-ended questions like that. Whenever even you want engagement, you have to tell people what to do. So if I ask you, how are you doing today? Put it in the chat. People are going to be like, they're not going to answer the open-ended question. It's too much cognitive load for them because they're probably thinking about a million things. But you almost want to assume and you want to get them to engage based on things that are important to them. Obviously, they want to increase their emotional intelligence, but you could say, if you're someone that also takes increasing the skill of emotional intelligence seriously, put EI in the chat. What I'm doing is I'm basing it on their belief that emotional intelligence is important based on their attendance at this event. And then I'm telling them how to engage so that they don't have to think about it. And I mean, I want you to breathe here. This is why you're here with me. This is just your first live. Do you want to know something? My team, they're doing the blog. So we have a website blog. There's people on my team that want to get rid of earliest blogs because it's giving ghetto, because my lives were so bad and the setup was so bad. This is not how I started. So your first live is like my 100th live. It was really bad. And it gave COVID pandemic orange hair. It was terrible.
You are smart. You know what you need. You're preparing for this transition as you are going into this film sector by preparing with a resume.
So one of the things here is, what are you looking at? Because you're not making a lot of eye contact. Are you looking at yourself or what?
So I put my notes right in front of me where my camera was at, and then my screen where I had my video, what we're seeing now, on the other screen, because I didn't want it to be a distraction, but clearly it was still a distraction. I think for me, I just wasn't sure if I was on there live.
Yeah. So then next time, just assume that you're on there because it'll just remove a lot of that. And then a lot of this maneuvering, it's very distracting. And then you start to panic, like, am I live or am I just talking to the wall here? The next time, just look at the camera more and just trust that you are live once you hit the live button. You've already done the pre-work. You connected it to your LinkedIn. I'm doing this for a few of the lives, but all of these things that I'm going to mention are lessons that we could all learn.
But here's the one thing that we are not doing as much, and that is learning how to be aware of our emotions, learning how to be aware of other people's emotions. And so that's why you're here. And I hope that you get so much out of this today. And my promise.
So one of the things is whatever you're going to talk about, even if it's more general, you always have to keep your client in the back of your head and also in the beginning of the messaging. Most of the people that come to you are military women. They're exiting and they want a career, like a high paying career. So you're talking about emotional intelligence. And one of the things you could have done is like, you want to get better at emotional intelligence, whatever. And let's just face the facts. It's a critical factor if you're exiting the military on deciding which career is right for you, especially if you want a high paying one in a city that you love. What did I do? I just basically increase the importance of this live for them because I'm saying, without saying it, that emotional intelligence could help you get this result. And it just so happens to be the result that you also help them get.
I like that it's like a segue into here's why or here's everything.
Yeah, because you're always just like, yes, they're interested in this topic, but how does this topic connect with the main thing that they go to you for, which is their career? Let's go to Mitesh. So the other thing for both you and Mitesh also, I'd look for a front light. Because the background, if you have a gray background or the light colored background, then you need definitely more lighting in front of you to differentiate yourself. And so that it pops a little bit more, that it's warm and that it doesn't look like you're just in an office that's not getting a lot of energy. If you wear glasses, I don't recommend a ring light, but just get some type of light that can attach to your desk in front of you so that that differentiation can happen. The other thing is having a little bit of distance and depth and potentially a light somewhere.
If I get rid of the glasses, can I just use a ring light then?
Yeah. The main thing with the ring light is just that it could produce rings in the glasses and it could be very distracting for the viewer.
Okay. How about some books in the background?
Yeah, you could add books, you could add whatever.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for participating in this live. Can someone just...
So the main thing here is instead of saying everyone, you want to try to say you. So thank you so much for being here. Good evening. I hope you're having a phenomenal evening. Like I'm speaking to one person instead of everyone.
Just message me in the chat if I'm audible.
And then try to do your tech check before they go live. Just assume that if you did your tech check in StreamYard that you could hear yourself. You see when you talk, it's green, all of that. Don't do that on the live. And if I were you, I'd go back and trim this. You could trim like the first minute off so that they don't have to watch it as a replay viewer.
So let's get started. Hope you guys are having a great day. And
all right. So the other thing is you don't look excited to be here. You just want to be aware. Even if you had a stressful day, it's totally okay to be like, just give me a second because I've had a day from HE double hockey sticks and I want to give you the best presentation possible, but try to be cognizant of that. That goes for everyone because it's a repeat thing that I see. People will say, let's start this presentation. It's going to be amazing. Well, I don't feel that you believe it's going to be amazing.
Hope you guys are enjoying the weather.
And just be aware. So you said, let's get started. And now you're talking about the weather.
Just a couple of minutes about myself. So I am a financial advisor. I've been born and brought up in UAE, lived here all my life. And I've been a financial advisor for the last 8 years. I work in a firm in Dubai. And I specialize in working with tech executives with equity compensation. And the format that I've chosen is that I'm going to actually present a case study. This is of a couple of people in tech that I actually worked with.
Okay, so the main thing here is just we're 3 minutes in and now we're just getting started and making that 30 seconds is the question. And you could have just said, thank you for being here today. As someone who works with a lot of tech executives through my firm who have equity compensation, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm going to present 3 case studies. The first case study is going to be focused on X, the second on Y, the third on Z, and then let's start. And that'll save 2.5 minutes for the replay viewer. And you could even do 1 case study in the live. I think that your process and all the details that they have to understand could be revealed through whatever you did in the case study, because a case study should talk about your process. Does that help?
Yes, it does. I can definitely trim that.
Good morning, Chip Cooper.
I like the energy. So the only thing is like, what if it's not morning, it's 1 p.m. So you could have been like, I'm so happy to see you today. Just be cognizant that they may not always be watching it in the morning.
Chip Cooper, a digital marketing compliance attorney. And you can see the title there. The FTC is cracking down on earnings claims. So what do we really mean here? Well, basically, the presentation is for you if you market money-making opportunities to consumers online. For example, do you have...
So like Mitesh's was a great example of it took too long to ramp up, and this is almost light year speed. I didn't even get to warm my seat before you're just throwing me into who this is for. So there has to be a balance. Maybe Chip, you could have said, good morning, I'm so happy that you're here today. As we understand, the FTC has been cracking down for years or threatening to crack down, but over the last 3 years, it's really getting hot. And if you're someone that has heard of that through the grapevine, put FTC in the chat. And my goal here today is to talk about how they're cracking down so that I can protect you from making really bad mistakes that could cost you a lot of money and get you in trouble with the government. So let's start. It's just giving it a little bit more warmth before you throw me into a presentation. But one of the great things with Chip is the matching helps. The black shirt, the books. Obviously, he's an attorney and stuff, so that would make sense. The only other thing is if you're going to use slides, you don't have to bring the slide on from the first shot because it makes it harder to get clips of only yourself. So you could have done a little bit of an intro and then you could have started showing the slides so that they also have a mental trigger of like, oh, okay, now the plane is going off the ramp. Now we're learning versus just getting thrown into the fire. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And one of the things to keep in mind that is always more evident when you look back than when you're actually creating the thing is that when you're doing a slide presentation, you probably always need more slides than you think. So we've been 30 seconds on the same slide and people may start to check out. But if you're like, do you have a sales page? And then you show a picture of a sales page or just a sales page. Do you have a this? Do you have a VSL? And the images are also changing as you're talking. It makes it a lot more engaging. So when you're doing the slides, try to have as many slides as possible, even if it is as simple as like breaking even those 3 things down into 3 slides. Because even for a repurposed clip, if you use this horizontal clip, now the entire 20 seconds is going to be the same slide.
Do you use sales webinars in your marketing process? And if you answer yes to any of those questions, you're obviously marketing money-making opportunities to your prospects. And if so, this presentation is for you. So let's get into a couple of big takeaways before we get into the meat and potatoes of the presentation. Number one, you're involved in...
And the only other thing that I see here, Chip, for the beginning before we move to the next person is we're one major module, I guess, into your presentation. And you haven't told me about the call to action. So you could have said, before we get into the meat and potatoes, I have a compliance checklist. If you want it, message me, FTC, and I'll give it to you. Or you could find out my LinkedIn profile under my header. And it's free and it'll help you protect yourself, whatever. And then you could start so that as a replay viewer, I already know what your call to action is. Olga's shaking her head.
I hate to hear myself talk. So first of all, I am excited to be here today with you. I've really been looking forward to this event.
So your energy is good. And you said with you.
It's the first time I go live on LinkedIn, although I've been in many other channels. And I love LinkedIn, by the way. So, and it is the first time I use StreamYard too, which is a great audio. So anyhow, kicking this off, thank you for being here today.
So one of the things that you could do in the future that you could have done here is if you always want to spark curiosity, you could have said, I've been live on places like my Facebook and Instagram, but I've never been live on LinkedIn. For some of the viewers, now they'll go try to find you on Facebook and Instagram. So whenever you drop things like that, like other channels, other social media, try to leave little breadcrumbs on where exactly you mean, because they may actually go find you.
Through the conversation, I want to first thank all of you that are here today, because you could be anywhere and you chose to spend the next half hour with us. So I really want to thank you for just taking this time in the next 26 minutes and having a great conversation on a topic that is often overlooked. And I also want, because I value your time, I also want to tell you who this is for. So if you're a hiring manager, if you are a senior HR leader, executive leader on the call right now, this is for you. We're going to deep dive. Well, we're not going to deep dive. We're going to have a great conversation about executive transitions.
So one of the things here is just being more specific, especially with pharma or healthcare. I think that when you said empowered, there could have been an opportunity where it's like, if you have someone that you know that you'll need to onboard this year, and if this is really relevant for you, put empowered in the chat. Or if you believe that successful onboarding is critical, especially when you promote some of your great leaders, put empowered. That just gives people a little bit of a chance to warm up before you go into the slides of who this is for. And then along the lines of Chip is you don't have to start with the slide there. Let them warm up a little bit.
If this topic does not resonate with you, it's okay if you stay, but if you want to drop off, I totally understand. And if you do stay, you want to share this with a colleague that this can resonate with, I would very much appreciate it.
So one of the things that we never want to assume on LinkedIn is that they know how to use LinkedIn. So whenever you tell somebody to share something, make sure you tell them how to share it. And we could say, if you don't know how to share it, don't feel alone. No one does. No one teaches you how to use LinkedIn. Click the blue share button and click copy link and text or message your friend. Then they'll actually have like, oh, okay, now I know how to share it.
So it's going to be a little bit interactive. So I appreciate your, going in the chat and just putting any comments or questions throughout the presentation. So let's start with.
I mean, like so far it's good. Those are just the simple stuff. And then the only other thing is that maybe move your body more to the door so that they can see the photo too.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. I know you could be anywhere in the world doing other things, but you decided to invest your time together with me and I.
Were you hitting your mic?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Where's your mic?
Right in front of me.
Okay. One of the reasons why I have one of these is because I'm like you. If it's in front of me, it's getting hit. I've gone like this and it's swung across the room multiple times. I move my hands too much. Just be cognizant of that. And then you could always just fix the problem with the boom arm and just putting your mic on that because it just gets out of your way. If you're someone that uses a lot of hand motions. The other thing is you look very professional. You look like you came prepared. And then just being cognizant not to say hello, everyone, but just speaking more to one person. I know you're traveling, so I don't know if this is going to be the setup, but maybe adding key lights on each side of wherever your setup is going to be.
Let me know in the group chat, where are you connecting from? What city are you coming from? And if you resonate with anything that I'm going to talk about today, DM me with values on LinkedIn and we'll keep.
You never want two commands immediately back to back to each other because it's confusing. Like, which one do I do? I got to find the chat. I don't know where the chat is. And then now I also have to DM and the switch is too much for them.
What we're going to cover next is in the next live events is how to come up with the questions to screen for culture fit, how to create the interview process, how to attract the right talent like bees to honey so that the candidates show
if you're going to go into what will be covered in the next live event, I'd probably have done that at the end because it's just more cognitive load. I'm trying to focus on this one and then it spurs byproduct questions like, when are these events? How do I attend them? Will the recording be available? So I would do that at the end. You could have said, what you're going to do today is go through an exercise with me on how to define your values so that you can create your company values, because without that, you can't make good hires. Then I would have been excited because it's like, oh, we're going to do like something like a little fun exercise.
This webinar is for you if you are a CEO or a leader in a company generating between 3 to 5 million ARR. You're not here for quick fixes. You understand that people operations culture takes time. This webinar is for you
love
if
that.
you've nailed sales and marketing. This is a done.
And so with each of these points that are mentioned, always try to bring it back to what they're trying to learn today or what's the main thing that you help them with. So you're a CEO, you're generating between 3 to 5 million ARR, and you just can't get past 5 million ARR, or you've been stuck for a while, you can't break that threshold because you keep hiring people that you need to fire. And you keep paying recruiters $10,000 every other week for people that stay on for 3 days. And you need to understand how to hire based on values to fix this problem, because without the right people, you're in a pretty pickle, right? And then go to the next one. So with every single point, it's bring it back to what the core problem is, which is they don't know how to hire the right people. And that's where they need you.
And we were so deep into operations. We had to put out fires for 2 straight years until we've realized.
So one of the downsides of using slides is I could see that this part of your story, the presentation, really matters to you, but you're not big on the screen. So the ability to repurpose that part goes a little lower when you just have the slide on. The other thing is adding specifics always helps. So you're like, yeah, we put out fires for 2 years, but what did that look like? We had to onboard 10 leaders and they were all fired within 3 weeks, and it almost cost us our business. What were the fires? Because you want to choose fires that will resonate with the people that are experiencing this problem today. Because then they'll be like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I'm going through. And then they'll be like, now I'm really bought into learning this. If this was the thing that helped you and your husband, because these problems, they're exactly like my problems today.
Makes sense.
Welcome, and thank you for being with me here today.
So one of the things I want you to notice, Andrea did her little design in the background, right? Look at the plant, look at the little light, the folded blanket. It makes a big difference. Even if you keep the same background, she didn't change anything. She just removes some clutter and it elevates the space. So a little light can just make a big difference.
I know you could be virtually anywhere in the world right now, and you've chosen to be here with me, and for that, I'm really grateful. In case you don't know who I am, my name is Andrea Miller. I'm a LinkedIn top voice, and I'm super passionate about helping people and companies get future-proofed.
2 things here is that, Andrea, lower your camera a little bit so you only have like this much above, just slightly. And then you say like helping people and companies, but just making it a little bit more niche. So helping leaders of teams or leaders who lead other people for the first time that may be going through a little bit of imposter syndrome, and then going into it because it's just making more specific.
So if you're a global leader who wants to be future-proofed in 2024, comment future in the chat bot, and I just would love to connect with you.
The other thing here is whenever you tell them to comment, like comment future, because I'm going to make all the benefits for them. So when you comment future below, you'll be able to see other people who've commented future, and you'll be able to connect with people who want to learn what you want to learn and who also want their future to be future-proofed, who may be in a great position in a company in 3 years. That may help you get a job, land a new role, whatever. You want to connect with them. So it's beneficial for you to comment because you want to grow your network. All of those benefits are in their interest, not in mine. So when you tell people to comment, just position the benefits. And that is true. If there's 10 people in the chat, now they can go to those 9 profiles and then say, hey, I saw you on Shanee's live. And then now they can be connected.
So we have 4 strategies today. And the first one I'm going to start with is, I think, probably the most important one. You know, the one thing I can say right now is that none of us know. It is so unpredictable.
So whenever you're doing points like 1, 2, and 3, try to put whatever you think is the most important at the end, because then it's going to give them a reason to stay till the end versus, yeah, this first point is the most important, and then I could just leave because I got the most important.
He either would tell you he doesn't know, if he's being honest, or tell you something and be probably very wrong. Because if you look at the research, and I love looking at the research, you find that they've gotten it wrong. Things are moving much faster than we ever anticipated.
So one of the things to prove a point like that in the future, if you mention research, is like in the research, they've gotten it wrong. even if you bring up one point, like in the research, blue collar jobs were supposed to be the first to go. And obviously that's not the case. They got it wrong. You don't just want to say, yeah, they got it wrong without bringing up a specific point, because I may not read that research as much as you.
If somebody would told me, a camera shy technophobe, a year ago, that I would be on LinkedIn doing a LinkedIn Live about AI, I would have told you you're crazy. Maybe not quite so nicely, but I would have just wondered, what the hell? But this is where we're at now. I mean, this is the time we're living in. We need to adapt.
So one of the things, if all of you go back and watch your replays, is to see your presentation as having a heartbeat. There's moments where you get more passionate, more excited, more this. And those moments provide a launch pad for engagement. So here you got really passionate. If you would have told me this a year ago, I would have never believed you. We have to become more adaptable. In that moment could have been, if you agree, put yes in the chat, or if you agree that becoming adaptable is going to be essential for future-proofing your career, put adaptable in the comments. It's self-awareness. I'm realizing that this is probably a perfect moment because I really am passionate about this moment to get other people who are passionate about the same thing to engage. And again, this is like the first lives. I don't expect this from you yet, but it's going to be something by like the fourth one that I am going to expect, is realizing the rhythms of when you get into flow and leveraging that energy to get engagement, if that makes sense. I hope that auditing these lives was helpful for everyone so that we could all avoid these mistakes in the future. God bless you. Ciao.